Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this public meeting of the Board of Johnson County Commissioners on this 22nd day of March 2021 at 10 o'clock a.m. Please pray with us if you care to, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with especially grateful hearts given the weather we just experienced over the weekend. Dear Lord, as we near the Easter season, I would just pray that our hearts and minds would stay fixed on you much like they do on that special day throughout all of the year. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nineveh Fire Protection District, approval of resolution 2021-R-5 and 2021-R-6. To proceed this, just so that the other two commissioners know, I did meet with Nineveh Fire District, with the board, with their chief, assistant chief. There were a lot of people there, along with Mr. Peters, and had a long discussion about what they were asking for and what they were presenting, and what I felt as commissioner and in that district that we needed, and we all came to an agreement that I think works for us and works for them to move them forward, but yet kind of give the taxpayers a little break there and not hit them all at once with a lot of stuff. But I am in agreement with the presentation. If we need a presentation, that'll be up to you guys. I know it's in our packet, but.
No, I've read through it. I think it's a good meet in the middle on this. I think from the last meeting, you and I had some questions and concerns, and you took that on and got those answered. So
I think what we're doing is going to help them solve some issues that they have and not being able to staff like they should properly, and to be able to cover that area. So I think everything, all in all, really, I think it's going to do well for what we need down there as we continue forward, because we still have more to do, and everybody knows that. So, Assistant Chief, do you want to speak, or
Yes, please. I'd like to speak.
Come on up.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak on behalf of Nineveh Township Volunteer Fire Department. I'm Assistant Chief Joshua Snyder. I've been with the department since. Yes, sir.
Would you mind taking your mask off, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, I feel more comfortable now too. So
He's already here.
Okay.
Just muffled it a little bit.
Okay. I've been with the Nineveh Township Fire Department since 2002, so I've seen our struggles. I took a leave of absence. I had twins, so I took a leave of absence until they were about 13 years old, came back. My younger son wants to become a fireman, so we're going to get him in the cadet program. So Nineveh's been doing the best they can with what they have, but our citizens of the township deserve more. They need to know that if they call 911 at any time, that someone will be responding from Nineveh Township Fire Station. That's why I'm here today, to ask for help. The day of volunteerism at the fire station is dying across the country. Everyone is seeing it. Today, I'm asking to raise my levy on my general fund to the maximum allowed amount. With the raise, we could increase the hours of staffing and have a competitive wage with our neighboring departments. The raise would allow me to pay a wage of around $15 an hour for staffing of an EMT firefighter. That's up from $10 an hour we pay now. With the raise in wages, the department would be able to provide a better service for the people of Nineveh Township. By having people on station around the clock to respond to calls directly from station, that cuts out the home response times and the no responses at all. The time saving could be life or death in some calls. I've spoken with the EMS coordinator at JMH, Tony Lounger. He's putting on an advanced class. That course would allow EMTs to have more training and do more skills in the field. This is one step below a paramedic. Those skills would allow us to start IVs, give more medicines, and do more when someone's having a heart attack in the field. Tony currently is teaching an EMT course in the county now, for the county. So it would be after this course would be done in the fall time period. I'm also asking to raise the Coon Fund to allow me to replace the roof on the station that's leaking and over 20 years old With the raising these funds, I would be able to replace the brush truck. Right now, we don't have one. Along with other issues around the station. At this time, a new building, in my opinion, is 3 to 5 years down the road. Major concern is staffing and keeping the building we have now functional. We want to give the people of the township the best service we can without a shiny new building. That's why I'm asking for help from you guys today.
Thank you, Chief.
And I've got just a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
And first, I want to say that the amount of increases you're looking for compared to the overall and compared to other our department's budget's not dramatic at all. But I do have a question on the example that is given where it says this homestead currently pays $40 per year for the operating budget. But the increase would amount to $50. Is that an additional 50? So we're talking 90 or just $10?
That's an additional 50, so now you get a total of 90.
Yeah.
But
So that
remember, today,
particular-
their rate's only about 6 cents.
But that particular homeowner is going to see a $90 assessment versus the 40 they're currently experiencing.
Correct.
And I thought that might be a little bit high in relation to what they're currently paying. You've given your justification, I guess, for that. And then the other, your overall rate, you're asking for a 259% increase in your overall rate. And that, to me, was kind of high also.
Commissioner, this is also the first time we've came to you since our fire board started in 1994 to ever ask for a raise.
Yeah.
So that's one reason it's so much at once, because the Fire Protection Board in years past have never pursued to raise the funds as they should have been raising them over the years. So,
Incrementally, yeah.
yes, sir. So now we're 38, 37 years behind the 8 ball.
And Assistant Chief and I and everybody at the meeting had discussion about in the past that it's hard to get board members that are engaged and do the job, and we've struggled with that on every fire board we've had pretty well. So they're really taking over something that's not their fault in this regime that's there now. And I think the board's going to be more engaged now, I would hope, especially after meeting with them and letting them know that we feel it's necessary to be more engaged. So I know it's a big increase, but I have to look at the overall and what they've been trying to do with what they've had. And when we go down there and we say we're not quite doing it the way we need to do it, and there's justification for why they're not, then, my was to work with it. They need to get their wages up. They need to get on-call staff. They're not competitive in that. And as you said, day of volunteerism is going away, and we're just going to have to maybe start paying for that kind of stuff. So I think that area has been not paying for the share of what they need to pay for a long time. Yes, they're getting hit with it all at once, but if we incrementally done that, then we wouldn't be where we're at now. So,
And if I could add just a little bit to that, by the way, I'm Jeff Peters with Peters Municipal Consultants. And we do a lot of fire consulting throughout the state. And this is a question that we always have. They're like, oh, that percentage increase is huge. Well, when you're only starting at 5 cents or 6 cents, you do get huge percentage increases just to get a little bit of money to provide basic services. And one of the things I did provide at the bottom was to give you some perspective where Nineveh's at 6 cents. You've got White River above 30 cents, Amity at 16, Needham at 16, Barkersville at almost 34, and Hensley Fire at like 12. So they were starting out behind the 8 ball very low, and that's that rationale. But again, this is not unique to Johnson County or Nineveh. This is something statewide where we see rural fire districts or rural fire townships providing in areas that are beginning to suburbanize.
times have changed.
Absolutely.
And that does make a difference in all areas, in the community. orientation of the areas. Like you said, it's moving more towards suburban in these rural areas, and in the fact that volunteerism is just a dying thing.
Absolutely, and the fire chiefs, the townships, the fire districts have all been to the legislature, and the first part of this appeal is something that came directly out of legislation last year. For this very reason is these small entities that have a population growth above 6%, the legislature wants them to start to implement appropriate property taxes so that they can be a little bit, I wouldn't say ahead of the curve, but at least starting to catch up to the curve.
And I want to reiterate from my viewpoint and being involved in that meeting is a lot of times, and I know we've all said it, we sit and listen to smoke and mirrors and a lot of stuff going on. And this meeting was just really down to earth. It was honest, sincere. It was from the standpoint of what can we do to help the department, but yet not punish the taxpayer because of all of it. I mean, it was just the meeting was one of the best meetings I've been involved in as far as just getting down to grassroots and what the issues are and what we need to do. So pretty impressed with the people at the meeting and what we did. There was some misunderstanding, I think, on both our parts on what I was trying to do, but once we figured that out, sorted that out, then we all came to the conclusion of where we're at. So I just want to make sure that people knew this wasn't something that just happened. It's something that there was a lot of time put into, and we really looked at this. They need some help down there now, but they really do. I know we like point fingers. Sometimes you gotta say they need help, and they need some help, so.
Well, as I said, again, the overall amount that you're looking at is not dramatic, of course, in the grand scheme of things. I just wanted to point out those concerns I had for the taxpayer that's going to see a significant increase.
Well, I am a resident of Nineveh Township, so this is going to come out of my pocket too, sir. So.
Understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With all that being said, I'm gonna move for approval for 2021-R5 and 2021-R6.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you very much for your patience, guys, and working with us and making this happen. I do appreciate what you're doing and what you're trying to do.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So now move forward. Thank you, gentlemen.
Get her done.
Get her done. Public safety communications.
I'm sad and also happy about this next one.
And happy about this one.
Yes.
I noticed the beer's got the shape of the mask in
I
it.
know, it's horrible.
Sorry, gotta have something.
Heath Brink, 911 director. Here this morning just asking our commission, myself and our deputy director to attend the 2020 ACO conference. Last year it was canceled.
You know, like, I'm gonna make a motion to approve and clarify. I'm sad that we're spending the money again to go to all these conferences, but I'm glad society's re-engaging.
Absolutely.
So,
And this is a good conference. It's very educational, and I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second.
It's not a foo-foo. Have a motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks. Hopefully they don't cancel it this year.
Yeah.
It's in Texas, so
Probably gonna happen then.
the word should be good.
Okay, Health Department approval to apply for the IDOH 2021 Title V grant. I assume she's.
To approve, I mean, Betsy's not here. So
I'm here.
That's
Guys,
all
I'm
right.
here.
Sorry,
There
Betsy.
she is.
It's okay. I was having connection issues, but I'm here. Betsy Swearingen, Director, Health Department. I'm asking to apply for a grant through the Indiana Department of Health to continue the Johnson County Systems of Care program. That current grant that's being held by Adult and Child right now will expire in June, and this funding opportunity was opened up to local health departments and other agencies, and we truly believe that the local health department is who should house this grant within the county. So we're gonna try to apply for it and see what happens.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion motion carries.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
I know they're busy. Sheriff, approve the lease agreement between Johnson County Sheriff and White River Township.
Wayne Burgess, Johnson County Sheriff. I think we're still working on this with
Pending
our legal.
Pending legal review.
Move to approve. Mark needed money that bad up there?
I was kind of questioning that myself, so.
Well, and there's probably, later on down the road, we're still waiting for Bargersville, White River, and Center Grove to do something. But that's the only place north that we can go. We have a DUI arrest or something for the breathalyzer to do that. But if those buildings are done at Center Grove, we're able to move there, and it'll give us a little bit more leeway and options.
So the plan is to move to the EOC after
We're going to look at it and see what room they have for us.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Order approval of Right Stuff project proposal, software license agreement, and application hosting agreement, pending legal review and appropriation of funds by council.
I do have Derek Shaw, I believe, is on Zoom. If Pam Burton, County Auditor, if anybody has any specific questions about the contract or the proposal, I don't know. I think some of you were able to come in on some of the training that we've had, or presentation that we had. Several members throughout the county that this is gonna make a big difference to have also help in participating in contacting other counties that use this, the software. So we're all looking forward to the positive changes it's gonna help in HR and payroll.
Move to approve.
Second.
Are we?
Pending legal
and
and
legal-
appropriation of the council.
Yeah, and then can we go ahead and approve the request for approach to council? It's the same motion. You want to wait?
You already have one.
I was just going to amend it. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now number 2.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Highway, several things. Number 5 and number 6 are pending legal review, just for notification.
Luke Maston, Highway Director. First item on the agenda is our recommendation to approve and execute the preliminary engineering and right-of-way services contract for our Bridge 98 rehabilitation project. This is a federal aid project.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, sir.
Next item, similar vein, our recommendation to approve and execute the preliminary engineering and right-of-way services agreement for our Bridge 66 rehabilitation project. This is also a federal aid project.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, sir.
Next item is our 2021 road striping contract. We had this on the agenda at the last meeting. What we learned was that our low quoter was not able to meet the insurance coverage requirements for this contract, which is why we delayed our recommendation. We are recommending this be awarded to Gridlock Traffic Systems.
I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
I guess a discussion. And we also we purchased a painting sharpening machine last year also. Just with the knowledge and the whereabouts to know that we still can do that on a limited basis internally in case of emergency, or we've got something that didn't make the bid documents, so just put that out there.
The machine that we bought is not really geared toward doing this amount of striping, but it is large enough that we can stripe anything that we pave or we chip seal in the summer. We can then stripe that ourselves in the fall.
And that's the machine you're gonna use to do that little strip out there I was concerned about?
Yes.
Good. Where we at? Got a motion?
Have a motion,
Have a second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, sir.
Next item is a request for approval to allow the chair to electronically sign future contracts with NDOT. NDOT is changing how their contract process works, like a lot of places are. They're setting this system up to where the signature is done essentially online in a PDF document. This should hopefully, both for NDOT and our state, speed up the contract execution process. It takes them months and months to get all the way through the Attorney General's office. So in terms of presentation and approval of the contract, that would still happen as normal. We'll bring it to the board for approval. This would just allow the chairman to sign it on the commissioner's behalf.
That does exempt the other two commissioners from any legal or fiscal
Yeah.
responsibility or liability.
I think you can add that to the motion.
Just information, a lot of the grants have gone this way now. It's just, some of the stuff I receive, and I always, once I sign it, I make sure that I send a copy once it's approved to the auditor's office, wherever that goes normally, so everybody's aware of it. But that was a nightmare when they first started changing over. I think we finally got it, so it's easier to do now. So the change even their delivery service from what it was to something else. So things are changing, and it's hard to keep up with all that. But I understand why they're doing it, to expedite things and move things a little faster. But as long as we make sure we get everything approved before I receive the grant, because that's been an issue sometimes too, that I'm not aware of it.
Right.
And then when I question it, it holds up the process. So let's make sure we get everything in front of the commissioners to get it approved.
Absolutely.
Just out of curiosity, why does that need legal review?
It doesn't.
The next
It's the
one
next
does.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We already did.
I guess I'm
We already
reading down
looked
too
at it.
far. Thank you. I see it now.
Judy still
Yeah.
has a motion.
I move to approve.
I know, you thought we'd already been there, right?
Yeah.
I got a motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, guys.
The next two items are our bid packages 1 and 2 for our 2021 asphalt conversion projects. These were the bids that were opened at your last meeting. These are also recommended for approval pending final legal review. The first item is bid package number 1. And based on our review of the bids that were submitted, we recommend awarding this contract to Harding Group.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And then bid package 2, we actually had a small issue with the bids that were read at the meeting. The low bidder, as read, was Harding Group. However, they submitted their bid on the wrong itemized bid form, which caused some of the quantities to be zeroed out, which is how they ended up with a very low bid.
I wonder how
Yeah,
that.
there's some disparity between those bids.
Adjusting their bid to the quantities that were sent out in Addendum 2 actually made their bid the highest bid. So our recommendation will be to award this contract to Milestone Contractors, who is the low bidder, but was the second lowest bid at the last meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? I will say that's why we give those back to you to review, so we can find those mistakes, so we don't have this could have been a disaster.
Would have been a disaster.
Because
Thanks, Luke.
Yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Due diligence. Board of Commissioners, appointment of Plan Commission board member.
I looked through these, and I only know one of these respondents, but I kind of like the first one that Chris Gannett for a couple of reasons. One, his past experience and also his current position as a commercial real estate broker. I just thought he might really fit our need there on the plan commission, but it's just my opinion.
No, I mean,
It's,
you've got to
We're on
work with
there.
you've got to work with these people, Ron. I would
Yeah.
suspect you would look at it very closely.
I'm gonna say it's probably pronounced Kennett though, not Kennett.
Yeah.
Kenneth?
Kennett.
Okay.
I know some Kennetts, so that's the only reason I'm saying that, and it's spelled that way.
I have had more interest in this board position once it's opened up. I've had more calls and emails and texts on this position. People want to apply.
And several
So
people applying.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
you can't get them to apply in the regular cycle, but they come in.
Well, and to that point, this would be a term ending 12/31/23. 12/31/23.
Okay, termination for that.
Did you say that?
Did he make them? He was just.
I'm
good after
just
discussion.
stating my opinion. I'll go ahead and make that a motion if you like.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Now the question is, can somebody notify him to be here tonight?
That's what I was asking when we said this.
We'll do our best.
We need him.
Do our best.
Yeah.
Along the lines of this topic, Jack, you were looking into this alternate positions that we might be able to do for this evening.
We'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
Yes, we looked into that.
We did look into it.
Thank you.
I'll throw one of these guys under the bus, that's basically.
We're not raising our hands.
Yeah.
You don't want to be under the bus tonight.
I have to sit under that bus in other ways.
Approval execution of Wells Masonry Restoration Inc., change order number 1 for the Johnson County Juvenile Detention Center exterior masonry repairs. I'm assuming that's the brick.
It is the brick. Jason Miller, Maintenance Department. I have a change order for Wells Masonry for the brick at the juvenile center. Total amount change would be $1,347, which would bring their total contract to $139,947.
I would move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I will say, I want to thank Jason for taking over that juvenile detention center project when Dan left us, that we were right in the middle of that. So Jason's taken hold of that, done a really good job bringing that and speeding that forward. So thank you, sir. Getting ready to work on the phase 2.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff going on, but I do appreciate Jason stepping in. Okay, acceptance of lowest quote and award of contract pursuant to IC 36-1-12-5 for West Annex ceiling repair.
Yes, we solicited 3 quotes. One from Extra Hand, who declined to bid. The next was from CW Sneed Company for $10,112, and the low quote was from Duke Commercial for $9,913.
I'm going to move to approve.
Low bid.
Duke.
Second.
Have a motion motion and a second, and under further discussion, that just for everybody to know, that's the ceiling out here in the lobby hall that's gonna be replaced,
Lobby hallway and in front of the elevators.
all the way to the lobby. So, and if you look up as you go out, you'll see why we're down there, it's pretty nasty.
I agree.
Just we're looking at some things, these next items are just some things that we really needed to do a while back, we're just not getting to, so, just for information for everybody.
Just one question for Jason. Is this day work or is this night work?
We haven't decided yet.
But right now, it's bid is day.
The bid is day work. I think I can do it during the day.
Okay. I just want to make sure you might be able to use that other end.
We can move entrances back and forth.
Lock this one down or
If
something.
we have to, yeah.
I could have them come in early, like 7 and start tearing stuff out at the entrances. But I think the hallway's plenty wide enough to be able to work and get people in and out.
We should be good. Have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Lowest quote in the contract pursuant to 36-1-12-5 for West Annex removal of wallpaper and paint hallway.
Again, we solicited 3 quotes for this work. An Extra Hand declined to bid. CWC Company has a quote of $3,434, and the low quote was from Duke Commercial for $2,783.
Have approved the low bid.
Second.
And motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Acceptance of lowest quote and award of contract pursuant to IC 36-1-12-5 for West Annex office space for security.
Again, we solicited 3 quotes. An Extra Hand declined to give a quote. CWC Company had a quote of $5,260, and Duke Commercial had the low quote was $4,041.
What exactly are we doing this?
We'll be taking a notch out of the corner there. That's really space that's not being utilized right now, and notching out a little space to move security back in so they're not.
Recess area.
Yeah, so it's not
Not
there,
enclosed.
just so they're not in the way of traffic, since we're probably gonna have it for a while.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, acceptance of lowest quote award of contract pursuant to IC 36-1-12-5 Commissioner's Office Kitchenette.
We have
That's your office. Oh,
Put
that's
in there. Yeah, we're redoing that, making room for everything and making it just look a little bit nicer and more useful, because we'll actually have a sink and stuff in there for people to use. So an update that's been needed to be done for a long time, which helps everybody.
we're gonna pipe water in there for the coffee maker.
We can do that for you, sir.
Just
You
say,
want our old water pipe?
yeah,
We've got it, it's
Well,
right
that's
below there, so
priority for me.
it's no big deal.
yeah,
Move to
Wait,
approve.
wait, I didn't.
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Tell us who it is.
Okay, we had
I
3
can sit right there.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at, we solicited 3 quotes. Extra Hand declined to quote. My understanding that CW Sneed has withdrawn his quote for this project. So the low quote is Duke Commercial, $16,202.
Didn't know that, but I'll still make the motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Who did you say the low quote was? That's what you said.
It
I did
goes
because
to-
Sneed withdrew.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We can move forward, Jason.
Get on it.
Dan?
Thanks.
Discussion of lights on courthouse corner, and this is a discussion I'll have to bring forward because I'm the one who received the phone call. I received a voicemail, and it wasn't a nasty voicemail. It was pleasant, but it was really basically saying that we're cheap tightwads in the city of Franklin mayor does a much better job spending money than we do.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I think we're more fiscally responsible than most people in the county. But the complaint is that when you're out at night, I guess, that some people can't see the courthouse because they think it needs 4 lights on the corner shining up on it to display the courthouse. My issue with that is that's one person that thinks that needs to be done, and what I'd like to put out to the public, and maybe the journal, if they're listening, to put out there, is that something that people would be interested in. As knowing that it's gonna cost money to install it, it's gonna cost money to maintain it, it's gonna cost money to pay for the utilities to run it. If that is something that's worth it to the people, it's a legitimate question, I think, that the lady's asking, and I think that we should put that out there and try to see if we can get some response to that. I have not had a chance to get back into Franklin at night since then. If there's anybody in here that has, I would like to know their opinion on what the courthouse looks like. I know we have a lot of street lamps. I talked to the mayor, and he agreed there is quite a bit of lighting, but it's not directly focused on the courthouse. But it does light up a lot of the surrounding area, which that courthouse is a little hard to miss, I think. But I don't know at night since I haven't been there at night. So anybody been around the courthouse at night lately, Jason?
I like the way it looks because the courthouse is a little bit darker and then you can see the flag very well at the top. It's illuminated.
Which is lit.
Yeah.
Of course, by standards.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to put that out there because when people call me and complain, I want them to know I react and do stuff. I do everybody that complains to me, I try to do something to figure out if it's the right thing. So I'm putting it out there for that. And if the lady's listening, I hope you appreciate that and know that we're not just cheapskates. We're just looking at, we have to look at the totality of the whole county and the taxpayers. It's not that we're being cheap, we're trying to be fiscally responsible with people's money. So that said and done, it's out there. Please, if you have input on that, I'd love to hear it. 4304-346-4304, area code 317. Leave me a voicemail, hit us an email, bbaird@co.johnson.in.us. I'd be happy to hear what you've got to say. Discussion of April 26th meeting date. And I know we're all over the board on this, but
I'll tell you guys what, you figure it out and I'll be there. Just Wednesday, I'll be out of town that day on Wednesday. So if it pushes to Wednesday, that would be the only. Tuesday would be, I'm open Tuesday.
I think Tuesday would work fine. But I think.
Yeah, the only question I had is, today I'm returning back from Florida. Now we get back in around noon, I think, that day. And I just asked if you want to have it that afternoon, I can make the meeting. If it's a major inconvenience, it's no big deal one way or the other. I had planned on Zooming in on Monday, but I can always review the agenda and send you my thoughts, comments anyway.
I have no problem with that.
Whatever you guys need to do to make it work for you.
I have no problem in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe 3 o'clock
Yeah,
on Tuesday, the 27th.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock?
If you,
That works, yeah, I'll get here, yeah. I'll still be in Bermuda shorts, no straw hat, but I'll be here.
well, I may just wear my Hawaiian stuff and match you there. I know you're gonna do it, but don't lie to me and come in a suit. You did that to me last time. I didn't expect you to do that.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
I don't, do we need any motion or anything
No,
like
that's
that?
okay. We'll go ahead and send out the notices to advise the meeting.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate that. I think it works better for what's going on at the time. Claims and credit card under new and old business.
Okay, here we go. Well, first I just want to say that as of 30 minutes ago, we still haven't received a manifest from the Sheriff's Department, Circuit Court, Superior to, and Community Corrections. And I bring this up again because it's hard to approve these claims if we don't know what they're for. And I might suggest that maybe going forward, if they don't submit a manifest, we just cancel that card. That'd be my recommendation.
Got a hand raising in the audience.
Yes.
I've been off sick myself, so I just got back, so I'm thinking what you have is just what the credit card looks at this point. I don't think it's on there to officially be approved
No, it's not.
for what you have. That'll be on the next agenda. This is just giving you an early review of what we have at that time and date. So the others will be in by the time, on their manifest, by the time you get the final document for the actual claims.
I've never seen the sheriff's office miss one yet. I don't.
Yeah, they didn't, the last one time they didn't.
But I think it's because we're getting it early now instead of,
So you're saying we're gonna approve the credit card charges in our first meeting in April?
I'm saying that approval of credit card charges are not on your agenda.
we've been getting them early the last few times for.
It says claims and credit card on my agenda.
It does say that.
Does it? I'm sorry, on mine it doesn't, so.
It shouldn't be for approval.
Well, I thought we had to approve it this meeting because we didn't, I mean, we were aware of the credit card charges our first meeting this month.
Okay.
This would have been typically the second meetings when we approve them.
You may be correct, like I
I
said.
know we got them early last time.
Yeah.
So maybe this, I'm thinking we got them before this. This second time we're seeing them.
Well, 4 departments, what departments were they?
Sheriff, Circuit Court, Superior 2, and Community Corrections.
Okay, if you guys want to go ahead with whatever else, I'll be right
We
back.
can move-
See what-
Let's move to the next.
And I just checked with Delilah a little bit ago, but yeah, we'll go ahead.
Okay. I'll check and see what's going on with it.
Okay. When talking about manifest, I saw like the prosecutor's office, they just cut equipment. Well, equipment doesn't tell us anything, you know, what was that equipment? So I think they need to elaborate on it like the other departments do. The highway department, I always like to give Luke a little pat on the back, but they do a great job. The health department also. Getting into the claims herself, the coroner had a claim for embroidery setup for $230. And then he had two charges, lockers and locks, totaling $494.55. And then another charge or claim that was kind of curious to me, respirators and thermometers. And I thought, coroner's not dealing with people that need respirators, right?
They need them, sir.
They need them
The coroner's office needs respirators
for what?
to breathe. When you go into a bad scene,
Well, is that a respirator? I thought that'd be like a face mask.
well, it is, but they call them respirators because you breathe through them. There's probably
Okay, all right. And thermometers,
like a gas mask, basically.
and thermometers,
Check, I don't really want to get into all this, check body temperatures.
anyway, those are just,
Lockers I can explain to you too, because I was over and met with the coroner.
yeah,
They're pulling out, they've got some real antiquated file cabinets over there and they're bringing in lockers instead of the file cabinets to lock up personal property.
well,
That's
yes,
what it's
okay. And on the embroidery setup, I'm assuming that that's for some kind of shirts or jackets, and you know where I'm at on clothing all the time. I would think we'd be much better off to just have these individuals have an ID card or tag with their picture on it that would tell you who they are and what department they're representing, more so than a shirt or a jacket with an embroidered insignia on it. That doesn't tell you anything. Anybody can get one of those. So I just always, you know where I'm at on clothing. And we've got so many departments now. I mean, that's like almost everybody's got some kind of a garment that they're wearing to identify the department they're associated with. I'm just not sure that that's necessary. Juvenile detention had a charge of $1,087.50. It said for testing for juveniles. And I'm just curious because the company that did it is SASSI Institute. So I was just curious of what kind of testing that is. To me, coming from an institute, I would think it maybe like a mental test or a scholastic test or something. I'm just curious what kind of a test was performed at that that cost level. Anyway, that's it for me.
I'll move to approve them.
I was
I was waiting on
I was
you.
waiting on Ms. Auditor.
We have the sheriff, we have circuit court, and we have Superior Court 2. These are the only ones that Libby has worked through and proof them and make sure they're okay. What you have in front of you is to approve the credit card. These came in after lunch on Friday, so there's virtually no way we could get them proof to get them to you in a timely manner. But those are 3 of the 4 that have been proved and verified that they're okay to pay.
Thank you. Sorry, Sheriff. We didn't- Just told we didn't have them.
He's in Jackson back there, isn't
I'm here for you.
he? Motion still stands.
To approve claims.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second, and I did have one question, and I know, I agree, I want to make sure I agree with what Commissioner West says. We need to manifest, we need to know what the money's being spent for because we approved those. And I also agree with Commissioner West that I think everybody and their brother now is buying shirts and new jackets, and I don't know if that's wise use of the spending of taxpayer funds to do some of these things that we're doing. And I think we have the right to question it fiscally and what we're paying for with the taxpayers. But I still go back to, it doesn't really matter. Because if we don't approve claims, the only one who gets dinged is the commissioners because it's our names on the credit cards. And I go back to the best way to handle this and to get away from these questions is to individualize the credit cards for the department with them having the skin in the game so that when we do disapprove one, they have to deal with it. And we haven't done that yet. And I've been trying to do it for over almost 8.5 years now. And I just want to put it out there again that I'm ready anytime you guys are to move these credit cards to the responsibility of the account holders and the ones spending them up. Just want to put that out there. Adult probation, while I'm on the subject, bought gloves under that, on their manifest, and I noticed they've spent a couple $300 for gloves, protective gloves, but yet I also know that Stephanie's got an overrun of gloves because she purchased like $3,000 worth here a little while back, and I said it at the last meeting, I'll say it again. Check with our EMA director on items that you need for COVID prior to purchasing them outside of her, because she's got the money for that stuff and she's purchasing that stuff. That's wasteful, spending money on something that we already have that we don't need to be buying. So please, I'm gonna put out there again, so everybody knows, get with anything that has to do with the protective gear, get with Stephanie Seasting, our EMA director, prior to spending any money on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, emergency management on their manifest had, for this month, had gloves for $6,490.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're already spending the money on this stuff, but yet each individual department seems to be doing their own thing. So please, for the sake of the taxpayers and for our frustration, check with Stephanie first. I have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We made it through that. Commissioner minutes 3/8/2021.
Sorry.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment, 5 minutes or less. Anyone feel the need?
Well, I see Christian and the young lady from the Economic Development of for Greenwood here today. I don't know if they had a comment or not. I would say, I know why you're here, but I would say in regard to the TIF districts that the county's proposing, I don't know if either the other two commissioners have talked to Mayor Myers or not. I haven't.
I had a phone conversation with him.
Yeah. And the reason I point that out is that in the letter that Mayor Myers sent in response to the Daily Journal article. 4 times in that letter, he referenced wanting to get together to collaborate, discuss particular proposal we had, and I have not heard a word from him. And I did have a good meeting with Mayor Barnett and 3 other people from his office, but just wanted to let the mayor know I haven't heard from him. Move to adjourn.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. We're adjourned. Thank you.